this is Janice.
And Nicole Broadcasting System, here to talk about jazz in the 1920s. The 1920s was an age that glorified city life, partying, and created a culture that seemed to have lost its moral compass. From this age, there of course was a high demand in music. This post-World War I era became known as the Jazz Age.
Jazz is something very hard to describe exactly since its origins are not entirely known. It could be described as a mix of improvisation and syncopation, which has roots of African rhythms and European instruments. Jazz music had a free and open aspect that was lacking in formal European music.
When Afro-Americans started to blend their music with existing European music, white people started to take an interest in this new, exciting black music.
Jazz could mostly be heard in nightclubs and speakeasies, which were bars illegally serving alcohol during Prohibition. The looseness of the music was known to encourage the rise of flapper girls, who danced in dazzling dresses and were known for their promiscuity. In the 20s, the first recordings of jazz were created, allowing for easier access, distribution, and ultimately the rise of its popularity.
New Orleans is known to be the place where jazz originated. Black musicians took up the cornet, trombone, clarinet, tuba, and bass. New Orleans jazz was mostly played in ensemble.
Between 1917 and 1923, racism and violence resurged against African Americans in New Orleans. Jazz musicians forced to leave and move north to Chicago, New York, and Kansas City. The jazz played in Chicago was more uniform and less wild. Musicians quickly lost the primitive sound from New Orleans. The early New York jazz music was influenced by ragtime music. Jazz was diverse and appealed to everyone. Louis Armstrong moved to New York after he broke from King Oliver's band. The Harlem Renaissance aided in increasing the popularity. Jazz appealed to people on a spiritual level.
Some iconic jazz musicians from the 20s were Louis Armstrong, Duke Ellington, Jelly Roll Morton, and King Oliver.
Jazz music is still loved today for the same reasons as it was when it grew in popularity in the 1920s. Its sense of soul, free spirit, and human emotions makes it still relevant in the world today. This has been a broadcast by Nicole
And Janice.